Welcome to Call with Dads. Let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's becoming more of a popular thing with like one is you have families that are spread across the country, and it's a more prevalent thing now. Plus, with the political views being so opposite and things like that,
divisive.
Yeah, and then some of it's like my situation where growing up, my biological dad really didn't act like he had any care what happened. It was more of, hey, I want to show that I have a kid and I'm good, blah, blah, blah. Your stepdad and all that.
And my mother.
What's interesting to me is, and I thought about it, but my childhood was so opposite of this, what's going on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, this is a whole new avenue.
It's a weird world. Like today, you'll be lucky to find a group of parents that tell their kid, "Get out of my house, go outside and play, and don't come back till the sun goes down." You won't find that today. I mean, it's rare. It happens, but it's rare. Whereas before, my age,
right?
I mean, my stepdad, my real dad, my stepdad would literally whoop my ass if I came back in the house. It was, "Get out! I need water. I'm thirsty.
Go.
There's a hose. Drink it." Yeah.
Go play. Do dangerous things.
Yeah. Go hurt yourself, please.
No, and that's vitally important. I mean, we joke about it, but man, that's what a necessity. I mean, I don't know if anybody's read Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life, but he has one of his rules is don't bother children while they're skateboarding. And he has a whole chapter that talks exactly about that, about how masculinity is just, it's vitally important that as children, young boys just go do dangerous things and hurt themselves and explore the world and, adventure.
My dad let me carry a 22 when I was probably 13, 14.
Yeah.
Go out and shoot some birds.
Yeah, go shoot something. Yep.
I think I got my first pocket knife when I was like 7.
Right.
And I thought that was like that thing was like gold to me.
It was like the
remember
coolest.
I carried that thing in my pocket every day until it was like I felt it was an honor for me. You know what I mean? As a young boy. Yeah.
I mean, my stepdad was pretty rough on us. He was not very nice.
Look how we no longer honor our parents is a big thing of how I kind of look at it. But the question is it really still honoring thy parent if the parent doesn't want to be part of your life? If they're not good parents, is it, who knows, maybe it's, I was a bad child and I just didn't do what was supposed to be needed to be able to give my family how it should be to where I was happy. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of what ifs.
When you brought this up, actually, when we were talking about, honor thy mother and father, my first thought, and this is kind of a question for Pastor Ron, is like, honor thy mother and father, right? It's one of the 10 commandments. But what if your parent's not honorable?
Yeah.
That I was going to that thought came to my mind. I think you can honor people and you almost honor the position and not the person. That they're still in a position of I honor you because of what you do and your position, but I do not agree or I do not think what you do is right, nor your actions aren't honorable.
Sure.
But I can honor you. Now, what does that mean? How do you carry that out? Well, to some extent, I have to treat them with respect and treat them. I don't have to retaliate, but I can be honest about things too and say, this isn't right.
Sure.
Sometimes honesty is what's honorable. It's
telling
the truth to
acceptable.
people is always not so nice feeling, but it's better than lying to them.
I say to my kids all the time that telling the truth is the greatest act of love.
Yeah. It's not always acceptable, but it's honorable.
Right. Yeah.
I think oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, like, my mother, she's in prison. I mean, well, I think she just got out, but she's in like a some sort of halfway thing or house or whatever, where she's still like on lockdown. She's not allowed to do anything, and she has no car, no money, no nothing. She has to like live in this special house and do all this stuff. I'm pretty sure she's either back in prison or she's in that now,
like a halfway type situation.
Yeah, she's not a drug addict either. She's a thief, and she's I believe she's a murderer. The reason she went to prison was because she stole a bunch of money from a guy that was living with her, but that guy, miraculously died under her care, and then she stole all his money. So I think she killed the guy and stole his money. But anyways, needless to say, all of that happened, and all of this happened around my mother, probably about, I would say, like 15 to 18 years ago, something around there. So I was probably about 25, 26 when she started kind of going nuts. That's probably about 18 years ago. And then, in the time. So to me, though, I believe that my actual mother, like, I honor my mother, and I love my mother very much. You know what I mean? She raised me. She was a good mother. She had some psycho quirks, and she was crazy, and she had a problem, but she wasn't like she is today, right? So I think somewhat, to me, and this is only something I've come to the conclusion of recently, one of the reasons why I still honor my mother. I don't talk to her or connect with her at all, but the reason I still honor her as my mother is because the person that is there today, I don't believe is her.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well,
I believe she died. Something happened 20 or 18 years ago or whatever, and she died. I don't know how, but her soul or whoever died, and ever since then, she has been kind of encompassed with some sort of internal demon. I don't know why, and it's only like in the past like couple of years where I started feeling this way, and it hasn't been like a thought where I like calculated. It's like it's an internal feeling. Like I looked into her eyes. I've talked to her. I've seen her, and it's not her. You know what I mean? So I still honor her, but I've never had the position where my mother did me wrong, because I don't believe that that's my mother. You know what I mean? So,
and I think that's really important personally. A lot of times people do things and I don't like it, or they do things to me I don't like. But, and it's not an excuse, but sometimes there is things that happen.
Yeah.
And, there's illnesses, mental illnesses, there's things that happen that cause people to do things that we don't like. And I'm not saying everything's mental illness, but I think sometimes we got to realize that there are things out there that happen.
Yeah. It sucks. And my brother and my sister don't believe it. They still think it's her. You know what I mean? And I've looked in her eyes, you know what I mean? But they're the type of people where, like, I mean, my family's always been like blood and family. No matter what, you back them. You know what I mean? And I'm like that too, but to an extent. I still have boundaries. You know what I mean? I still have a life, and like I have a wife and a kid. And to me, once I had those, my wife and my child are my family now.
Yeah.
You guys are now extended family. You guys are no longer my direct family.
Your family. Yeah.
Right. My responsibility now is to my family directly, not to you. You know what I mean? I am no longer under your care. You are no longer under mine. They are under my care and rely on me to take care of them. So, because of that, I have boundaries. So my mom now is crazy, psychopathic, thief, criminal, all these things. I have a boundary. I don't associate with those people, period. Sorry. I mean, that doesn't come into my family, because that type of poison is what causes problems. It causes marital issues. She could teach my child all kinds of bad stuff. It's just, no. So stay away. And my brother and sister are mad at me for that. But it is what it is. My family's better for it. My brother's already been divorced 3 times. My sister's never been married, and she's almost 38 years old. And she still lives with her father. You know what I mean? So it's like, hello.
Yep.
So you let her into your life. It's poison. You know what I mean? It's sad, but I don't believe it's our mother anymore. Our mother would have never done any of this stuff. this person, this demon does. So
it's a little bit like forgiving somebody that's wronged you. I can forgive them. Doesn't mean I want to be around them or should be around them.
Right, correct. Yeah, I forgive her for anything she did in the past raising us. Most of it was just parenting nonsense and screw-ups, normal parenting screw-ups, especially now, as much as I screw up as a parent. You know what I mean? But I forgive her for all that stuff. Honestly, I never did hold any of it against her. But today, what she has done today and all the stuff that she's done, I mean, I forgive her in a way. I can't really forgive murder. It's kind of weird. I guess I kind of can, it's I guess that's kind of what Jesus is for. He will forgive it. But
kind of going back to what Ron said, I think that's kind of important about honoring the position, because I think about, in like paramilitary type organizations with hierarchical structures, particularly I work in the fire service. So I think about, I have numerous officers on, I work for a huge department. I have numerous officers on our department that I have no respect for whatsoever, but they are my superior, and in the appropriate situation, aside from doing something dangerous that could risk my life, orders are orders, you know what I mean? So and that's honoring the position that they're in, not necessarily the person that they are.
Does anybody think in our society now that that's something we really don't consider? That if you do something I don't like, you're out, you're done. I'm not going to honor you in any way. I don't seem like we got that understanding or something.
It's funny too, because I think about, I think I look at like my kids, and I don't mean to sound pompous, because obviously they have intellectual value just as anybody else does, and their experience is relevant. But I look at like my 15-year-old, and I'm just like, what do you know? Like, you're 15 years old. What do you know? You know what I mean? Seriously? Like, you've got, but then I think to myself, and I think of like, all my grandparents are passed, but when my grandma was alive, she was like 84 years old. And I remember having this thought about being in her position and looking at me at 33 and having that same thought, like, what could you possibly know? You know what I mean? Like, you've only got 33 years on this earth, and to me, it's like, I feel old, but it's like, to her, it's like, you're just, who even are you? You know what I mean? And so that's something for us to remember too, is that we get pompous, or we get arrogant because we think we know what's right. And, and sometimes we just don't know what's right. And that experience is valuable. The wisdom is valuable.
It's interesting getting older. When I got to where I'm at now, I thought, well, you get older, you kind of get things figured out. And I think you do get wisdom and things, you get, then I think sometimes, I think I know less about some things than I did. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't feel like I'm gaining on it. So I think there's always things out there that we don't know.
Of course.
And things are always changing.
Yeah.
But I think there is wisdom. If you've been through enough stuff, you kind of learn, hopefully.
Yeah. You have like an intuition, that you develop over time. It's not, you've survived this long, like you don't, I hate, to beat a dead horse, but referencing the fire service again, that's an adage in the fire service. You don't get to be an old firefighter if you're not a smart firefighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's true about life too. You don't reach old age unless you know a little something. And I remember like thinking back, this is kind of interesting that this thought came to me, because I haven't thought about it since I was a kid, but my grandfather, he was in his like 70s, and his dad was in his 90s. And I remember that every time my great grandfather would come up to visit, he lived in Mississippi, he would come to visit. And I remember he always called my grandpa young man. And as a boy, I always thought that was so funny, but then thinking back to it, it's like, he is, he was a young man,
to him. Yeah.
To my great grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think, has our society in general, I don't know, I hate to make generalities, but is our society in general lost the honoring aspect in many, I don't see where honor is much used anymore. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. Yeah. I'm not saying not, but
You want to know where my opinion on that lies?
Yeah.
He's gonna
me
tell
personally, we've lost religion. We've lost religion as a whole. You know, it seems like a lot of it is starting to come back, and a lot more people are open to it. But I mean, most people. I mean, even when I was growing up, you know, and it got progressively worse in the 2000s and stuff. I mean, think about the kid at school that liked Jesus. You friggin' nerd, you know what I mean? Jesus boy, you know, and then it just progressively got worse and worse, you know what I mean? People made fun of those people, you know what I mean? Nobody liked the overly religious, nerdy kid, or, you know, even as you got older, you know, I even in my adult age, when I was in the military, it was like, the one guy that was like overly Christian or religious, nobody liked him. Nobody invited him anywhere. He's freaking weird. Get away from me, you geek. You know what I mean? You know, and that's how it's been for years. So now I'm a lot different. You know what I mean? It's taken me many years to get this way, but now I see that religious guy, I'm going to gravitate to him instead of all them other creeps. You know, that think boozing, jacking off, and banging bitches is a good thing. That's like, you know, that was my mindset for many years, but it's not anymore.
So then you're kind of saying that honoring is biblical.
Yeah, correct.
And the further we get away from biblical understanding, the less honoring we're going to be.
I mean, that's why that to me is partly the reason why OnlyFans is so big. You know, women have fallen off the wagon. We no longer have men that are holding women to a standard. We no longer have women that are holding men to a standard, and the majority of that comes from the fact that biblical and religious, you know, morals come from, you know, the Bible, Jesus, religion, all that stuff, and that has. You know, I mean, you don't gotta be like, you know, wearing crosses and being all creepy and wearing the robes and ribbons and all that nonsense and being like every conversation you have is about Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. You don't gotta be a creep like that. I mean, but still being a general religious man, you know, being biblical, holding solid morals, you know, all of that stuff comes from following religion. You know what I mean? And I do it. I still have a beer, you know. I still touch my penis. I mean, it's part of life, you know. But I'm not, you know, like. Does that make sense? I mean, I know it's a little vulgar and weird, but I'm being realistic, and you know, you know, I still grab boobs. I still Google, you know, Sydney Sweeney naked. I mean, it's. I'm a man, you know, normal, you know, but I also have morals. I restrict the things that I do. You know, I also don't do, you know, I don't go power boozing and, you know, sleeping around and doing crazy stuff like that. I honor my wife, you know what I mean? I don't consistently look at pornography. I don't drink myself into oblivion. I control my anger around my child. You know, I don't steal from people. You know, I have every opportunity in the world to steal from people. You know, I go out of my way to help people on a daily basis. You know what I mean? It kind of connects with my job, but I also go out of my way to extra help people. So all of these things are something that I've kind of grown into and learned from. And what has helped me learn to do this is getting a little bit more religious.
So there's go ahead, Pastor Ron.
Well, one of the things that, you know, in my span of life, when I was a kid, even people that didn't go to church were still held a standard. They held a biblical standard of how you conduct your life.
Yeah.
And you might not call them religious, but they live by a standard. To me, that's gone.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it actually adds to what I was going to say. So I kind of always look at this stuff kind of philosophically, as I'm sure everybody knows, but there's kind of two prongs right now that are kind of failing and causing this whole thing to collapse. So one is there's a theory that there's a balance between a degree of religion and human understanding. Okay. So we were polytheistic at one point in time because we didn't understand a lot about the world. So we had to ascribe things like the growth of a flower to a god because we didn't know why it worked. So we had a variety of gods. Eventually, we learned a lot about all this stuff scientifically. We became monotheistic as a society because the only thing we didn't really understand was being, right? We understood everything else, but existence was still something we didn't quite have a hold on to. Now it seems we're converting to anarchy because we've made this arrogant assumption that we understand existence and being. We understand meaning. And I just don't think we do as much as we think we do. And a lot of that can be found in religion, especially in the Bible. The other thing is that what religion gives us is it acts like an inoculant against things like nihilism, which is the belief that nothing matters, right? So, and the reason that is because when you accept religion, when you accept that there's a God, you're accepting that there exists something beyond you that is real. And when you deny that, okay, it's called objective truth. When you deny that, then the only truth there is what's true for you.
Right.
And that leads to an ideology called moral relativism, which essentially means that if I decide that murder's okay, it's okay. Because I decide what's moral and what's not.
Right.
Not that morality exists beyond me and is already determined.
Right.
And so these two things are falling apart because of a loss of religion, because of a loss of a belief in one God.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and it's leading us down this path of a total loss of honor, a total loss of morality. And
like you just said, everybody does what's right in their own eyes. Everybody, and there's the thousands and thousands of ways of doing things.
Yeah.
And everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is, no matter what we're taught in modern culture, there is a right and wrong, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it does not matter what you believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we don't establish what's right and wrong. Yeah.
Right.
No, we don't. It's already established.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
So let me ask something. Let me jump in here because, the one thing I'll admit, I've gone conspiracy theory in a lot of areas in my life nowadays. And the weird thing is
my favorite.
Yeah, we've had some of those conversations. But the fact is most conspiracy theories tend to come true nowadays, weirdly enough. But it's the one thing I've always thought is the government, there's organizations, there's groups out there that are looking at destroying religion, destroying families, kind of like we were talking beforehand, where this distancing your parents, like I'll admit, I've mentioned it here several times, my biological father and I haven't spoken in all truth, I'm guessing 10 to 15 years, something around there. The fact of I went at the time that it started, it was just I was going through a separation from God in my life and everything going on. I felt like having him in my life wasn't beneficial from what I remember of him growing up. Now, he could have changed. It's been a long time. I don't know. But I'm wondering if the normalization of not having your parents in your life, like, oh, well, he didn't care about me then, why should I care if he's around me now? You know what I mean? He didn't want to really see me when I was growing up, why should he want to see my son, him grow up? Things like that, you know what I mean? But on the same note, I'm also sitting there going, I'm trying to teach my son good things, because out there, if I let other people teach him, then God knows what he's going to end up being like. My son's a smart boy, but he can be smart in a good way or he can be smart in a bad way. And I've seen him at 7 years old. He can obviously show that ability in both ways. But I'm wondering how much is of the push that we have to not respect family and religion the way we used to, more outside forces, and you could say outside governments. China has a much different TikTok that we see than what they see. There's X just proved that a lot of these extreme left and extreme right accounts are from out of the country.
From out of country, yeah.
Yeah. So you're seeing a lot of
foreign influence.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of stuff come out that's showing that people are trying to divide us,
Right.
trying to make us a weaker country.
Mhm.
Family religion, I honestly believe, makes us stronger. And even if you don't want to believe in God, believing in the principles, believing in the values, I mean, those things will make us stronger as it is, no matter how you look at it. So how much of this is really us getting influence from outside effects versus what we honestly believe and what we allow ourselves to believe because of those effects?
I think there's a great influence. From a spiritual side, I believe we have an enemy. The Bible's pretty clear. We have an enemy. And I think he works through all kinds of ways. Government, he's out to destroy. And I think he's out to destroy family, and he'll use whatever means he can do. And I see that all over that, there's just a lot of areas that it's just an attack on the family. Years ago, I thought, the fathers on TV, fathers just got blasted on TV.
Yeah.
Fathers were stupid people and they did dumb things, and it was just an attack on dads. And I don't know. I think there's a definitely an effort to destroy family, because I think it is the solid structure of any society.
Yeah. That's where I think where majority of it started. I believe they knew what they were doing. You know what I mean? I absolutely do.
It looked like
Yeah. I think
divide and conquer.
Yeah, I think they purposely went, whoever this is, purposely went after, obviously, guided by the demon below, but the other governments or control, or even our own government, whoever this is that's doing this, I think they're, if you read, I forget what it's called, but it was like by the Russian government. It's like it's like something subversion or something, how to turn a civilization into a communist civilization. And they go through a book over like 50 or 60 years. And it starts with like breaking down simple moralities, talking about this and that, making fun of religious people. And then it talks about breaking down family, and it starts with the father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Exodus, the book of Exodus tells us how to oppress a people.
Yeah.
There's no question. We knew this thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that the Pharaoh did to the Jews when he was attempting to oppress them? He told the midwives to kill all the sons.
Yeah.
He emasculated the society.
Yeah. Emasculated society.
He suppressed the masculine force, and that's exactly what's happening. Right. Like you said, Pastor Ron, and you look at all the sitcom television shows in the 90s and early 2000s, and the father's a buffoon.
Yeah.
Look at look at the Simpsons and Family Guy, and even Everybody Loves Raymond, and it's just there's just
right. Yeah. The Simpsons and Family Guy, those are great shows. They're hilarious, but you're 100% right. You know what I mean?
And then now
the
we've got
father
toxic
is regarded as a buffoon.
And everything we do is toxic. Just our very existence is toxic.
God forbid I work out and. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's exactly right. I think that
you can't have boundaries. You can't set limits.
I think right now, so that was what it was at the beginning, right? And that has regarded where everything about men, you guys are terrible, bash, crash, you're dead, losers, everything. Women are so wonderful and great. How dare you ever say anything bad about them? So now we're in a point where it's like this. And now, if you look at society, you could go on X and just type in dad. You know what I mean? There's tons and tons and tons of dad groups and dad this and dad that, and they're just smoking, trying to rebuild fatherhood and masculinity and men overall. It's like going crazy. It's like the new thing, right? But what's the new thing with girls and women? OnlyFans, right?
Oh yeah.
So right now it's no longer women, or no longer men. It's now women.
Then it's liberating, Eric.
Right. And the problem is not that women are going off the rails. That is a problem, but that is not the problem. The problem is when women go off the rails, God forbid anybody says anything about it.
Well, it happens because of the emasculation, right?
Right, correct.
There's no men that are saying, not my wife.
Right.
not my daughter. You know what I mean? Because because then you're then
you
you're
even see
abusive.
some of the famous people and stuff online like promoting, my daughter's OnlyFans.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is insane. You guys, I'm assuming will be blown away by this. And our sorry, this random thought. On our community's Facebook page, somebody posted a request for a cake for their daughter who was turning 18, and they wanted the cake to say "finally legal." This was a mother.
Yeah, that's terrible. Like,
and people were suggesting local bakeries. Like this was just a funny thing to put on your 18-year-old daughter's cake.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this is
like, geez,
this is insane.
Yeah. Right.
I think that goes to the morals of the country and how we've ended up seeing society and now thinking about it kind of goes to this whole internet thing. And I've said this before, internet's great. The technology is great. The problem is when before the internet was all big and useful and all this stuff, I remember the whole it's empowering they used to say about strippers. Yeah. And I mean, heaven forbid, I know I've dated one or two and I've known
gone to several strip clubs. They're a lot of fun, surprisingly. They're all
young ones.
Yeah.
You know, I was a weird one.
I can honestly admit today they're fun.
I always figured if I couldn't touch, it wasn't that fun for me. So I never enjoyed them. But what I did realize is the girls that I knew, because I had a roommate that dated a stripper for years. And that's ended up how I ended up dating one. But it's just one of these things that the more of them I got to know, the more I realized that either they had dad issues, and most of them all had dad issues. They had no religious beliefs. And, you know, they had more of a progressive view in the sense of, well, I feel good because people are looking at me, people are validating me. And mind you, back then they were using those terms, but they were saying similar things in all this stuff. So as much as people like to ding on OnlyFans, all it is a strip club online.
It's an online prostitution.
Basically,
it's a little bit more dastardly than that. Quite honestly, because it gives young men the impression of connection. Yeah, it's simulated connection, and so it even further talking about this emasculation of society. I mean, it even further progresses that because these men are sitting at home, absorbed in this fantasy connection they have with these women online, and they're not seeking, they're not pursuing women like they're designed to do.
Right. But tell me,
one chick I just saw on the news. One chick outpaced LeBron for an annual salary. LeBron James made $60 million last year. This girl on OnlyFans outpaced him.
What did you
more
say?
than he did.
What did you say, Eric? I asked a question.
I was pointing out that the fact of you look at how you have you said that OnlyFans is demasculating men because they don't have that connection. I can tell you, even before I was 18 years old and old enough to get into a strip club, I knew guys that were older than me that would swear the stripper loved them.
Yeah.
We all know that guy. Oh, she loves me. She loves me. I paid $100 for all the lap dances, but she loves me. And you're sitting there going, she probably doesn't even know your name after the lights turn on.
Yeah. So I think the problem with OnlyFans is accessibility.
It increases it. It makes it easier to access.
Increases the number of people, increases the amount of time you can spend on it, and it increases the number of people who can, underage, older age, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's another. I've heard it mentioned many times. I'm sure you all have too. But what it must do to our brains as young men. We are capable of in a matter of hours seeing more naked women than a king would have been capable of seeing in his entire lifetime.
Right.
1,000 years ago.
Right.
Just how that
5
affects
minutes.
our brains. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And not even. You know what I mean? Like, like minutes. Just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to what you were saying earlier, Tom, about the cake deal.
Yeah.
I saw something similar online. It was like 2 days ago. Now, I understand not everybody watches the Sean Ryan show, but if you watch the most recent episode, not the most recent, because the most recent, I think it was...
Was it the hacker?
Yeah, there was one guy, and then Tucker, and then prior to Tucker, the guy's name is Ryan Montgomery, the hacker guy, and he goes into Roblox and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And if you watch that, I will never... in my life allow my child on Roblox or any of those. So some lady had two $25 gift cards for Roblox on an auction page on Facebook, or a local one here where I live. You start at $1 and you bid, and you keep going until somebody, the last person, and then whoever the last person is, if it sits on that last number for 8 hours, wins, right? Man, it was so many bids on that, and I commented. I was like, does nobody watch the Sean Ryan show? Like, holy cow. They get millions and millions and millions of, hundreds of millions of views on every episode. I mean, really, come on. How do you not know? So, and everybody's like, oh, my kids will love that. Oh, my kids will love that. And they'll bid. Oh, my kids will love that. And they'll bid. Like, come on. You have got to be somewhat smarter than that. But then again, in the show, they talk about how the parents know, they just don't care.
Yeah, parenting takes work.
Yeah.
They literally just don't care. Not to my kid. It won't happen to my kid. Yeah, and they just don't care.
And you have to be willing to. You have to remember that you're a parent. You're not a friend. And that this kind of ties completely back to what we started. I mean, as a parent, you are not. Your first priority is not to be your child's friend. It is to make sure that they grow up to be good people, productive members of society with strong foundational value systems. And that's not an easy thing to accomplish. And unfortunately, as human beings, we're very stubborn, especially when we're young and we don't know a lot. And so we just, as parents, we have to put ourselves in the position of bad guy for quite a long time, and hope that one day the gratitude will come.
Yeah, for sure. It just boggles my mind. It was like, how do you not know how terrible to me, it's like Roblox should be completely shut down. I mean, not by governments or anything, but by the fact that nobody uses it, because they're all like, why would I use that?
At least age, should at least have age requirements.
Yeah, age restrictions and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy, unbelievable. But
that again goes back to morals and, like you guys said,
moral breakdown. Yeah.
The family. There's no God. Families. Most people, I honestly don't know. And Pastor Ron, maybe you can help me help with this from your experience. But when I was growing up, you had like one or two families that weren't very close to their parents. It was free range. The kids can do whatever they want.
Right.
Now, it's like, well, just let the kid do whatever they want. It's fine. They're fine. Just let them go. And like, there's a point, like my wife and I've had this discussion of, well, I want to give my kids more independence, but I'm not going to be so independent that I let them free range on YouTube for a couple hours and say, well, let me see what you watched in those couple of hours, because heaven forbid the things that like I have to get out of my algorithm that like I click on one AI video and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. Get out of it. Next thing I know, for a month straight, I have nothing but those AI videos.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
That's not what happens to me. It ain't AI.
Well, you get what I mean, like I got just recently, I clicked on one of those AI Disney gone wrong previews where they're like just, they're like it started off, first one was kind of funny, the next thing went racist and then went disgusting, and you're just like, no. I have had that in my feed for the last 3 weeks now, and I've only watched one of them and didn't even watch it all. So it's that kind of thing that it's easy to get sidetracked. So my thought is that parents used to care. Parents, they might have seen rougher, like when we were growing up, Tom, Eric, and I go out, just get out of the house, go have fun, just don't come back with a broken leg. If you're thirsty, there's garden hose is out there. You know the neighbors, they'll let yours drink theirs too, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You know the safe houses. Now it's, oh, well, you have a phone. Just go in the living room, watch your phone, or watch your tablet, or watch whatever.
You can't go outside though, because sex trafficking. But we can let you sit in the living room and browse YouTube for 8 straight hours, and somehow that's better. That's healthier. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. I have a observation. One of the things I've noticed is you were talking about children and training and all. I'm amazed at how many children think they're in charge of the home at 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
I got families, and these kids dictate what they do, where they go, where they eat. And I'm thinking, why do parents allow young children to make those kinds of decisions? I don't know if they think they're doing the right thing, or they just don't pay any attention. I don't know.
Yeah. My opinion on that is based on, because it happened to me. So, I mean, it's hard to admit that it happened, but it doesn't have anything to do with the child. It has everything to do with the mother.
Right.
Everything.
Okay.
Well,
everything to do with the mother.
And the father.
Well,
Nothing against you. I'm just saying in general, because the stats on fatherless homes are horrible. There's a reason for that. It's not just an accident. Yeah.
Do you think
In
sometimes it's laziness, or
partly? So in my case, I mean, the first, I would say 2 years or maybe even 3 years. My daughter's 7 now. 2 to 3 years of her birth and being, new to our family and stuff, kind of did have a bit of laziness. I was not that great of a mindset. I kind of did I focused on work and, porn, and I just didn't really give that much of a crap, I loved my family, and I worried more, honestly. And this is even a hard thing to admit as Mr. Pancakes and Pancakes with Your Dad. I focused more on worrying about making my daughter frickin' pancakes every Sunday than I did about raising my family. I cared more about that. I love the Pancakes with Your Dad thing. It's awesome. It's from the beginning, it has always been about being a better parent. But I openly admit I focused more on making pancakes and worrying about what my daughter thought of me. I worried about, the parenting styles of my wife, and, I should be, my daughter says or my wife says I should do this, so I should do that. And I ought to read this book about this type of parenting, and I ought to do this. And, there's all, and then maybe we ought to go to therapy to learn how to parent our child better, and this and that, and this and that. And I just, after a while, I put my foot down. It was about, I would say about 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Maybe a little longer, a little less, right in a 4-year range. I put my foot down. I said, no. And this is the end. You know what I mean? I'm the man of this house. I started working out. I started eating better. I started making all the decisions. I started getting up before everyone. You know what I mean? I'm making sure I'm the one that gets everything going. You know what I mean? This is my house. You know what I mean?
So what was the reaction at that time?
Oh, they still resist. They still fight me to this day. The only difference is today they don't fight me from sun up to sundown. You know what I mean? They're a lot more, I guess, accepting. Yeah. So they've kind of learned that. All right. Yeah. You know, he's the dad. Yeah. He's the man of the house. You know.
Is that because they think you really care?
Yeah. Partly, yes. Partly due to they understand a little bit more of my realities a little better. My daughter is older, can understand a little bit better. Not to mention, and my wife has gone through all of these motions and none of them worked. And then when I implemented something of mine, I said, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this. And it worked. And now, oh, okay. Yeah. So when that happens several times, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, when my daughter's with me, she behaves 100%, because she knows I'll snatch them pants down and sting her hide. You know what I mean? You don't mess around with dad. You do what I tell you. The end. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I still work with her, and I try to make sure I don't whoop her ass all the time. You know what I mean? And I give her options. I try to teach her to lead by saying, hey, here's a couple things. Why don't you try and make a decision on this? You know, and I try to do things like that to help her. You know what I mean? But there's also a time and a place for it, and she understands that today. You know what I mean? Where she didn't used to. She used to always, my wife used to always be like, oh, ask her where she wants to go for dinner. You know, ask her what she wants for dinner. No, you know, now it's like, no, I'm making dinner. Sorry, eat it. You know, now she's much older. My wife used to also play the game, where it was, what do you call it? It was, eat, you know, make her dinner or whatever, and she'd complain, I don't like that, and she'd make her something else, and then, you know, this and that, and as the night went on, you know, it was later, so the dinner was all cold and gross, so she'd throw that away, make her a bowl of oatmeal or whatever she wanted. Now it's like, I make dinner, or you make dinner. Whoever makes dinner tonight, here's the plate of dinner. Okay. If you don't eat it, that's fine. I don't care. I don't give two craps if you don't eat it. You don't get anything else. The
You'll
end. Sorry about your luck. Yeah. You know, and I mean, I won't go as hard as my stepdad would have. You know what I mean? You know, she'll still get a regular breakfast and stuff. But like my stepdad when I was younger, and man, I tell you what, when my stepdad implemented this, I did that. I complained about my dinner one time, and I never did ever again. Not once. I ate my dinner every time for the rest of my life. And my stepdad, when dinner was made, it was on the table. If I didn't eat it, that's what I had all night. And then in the morning time, if I wanted a bowl of cereal, dinner. And then if it came lunchtime and I wanted something else, my stepdad would have my mom pack my lunch with the dinner. And then if I didn't eat it at lunchtime, sure enough, dinner came around. There you go. In the microwave it went, and I got my dinner. I think I held out for like 2 days, if I remember correctly. I think I was like 9 or 10 years old.
But yeah, I mean, parenting was different back then than it is now. You know, the one thing, and Eric, I don't know if you remember this, but remember the guy that we had on, the gentle parenting kid?
Yeah.
Well, he was a young guy. He was literally, I think I could have been his dad. You know?
The 24-year-old kid that had a 24-year-old kid that had a 1-year-old, had a newborn and a 2-year-old. The 24-year-old kid that had a newborn and a 2-year-old was coaching people on the internet about
how to be
parenting, how to be a parent, and selling his internet coaching course about gentle parenting.
But here's what has me thinking about that guy. Is one thing is his whole stick was that he was pushing gentle parenting because his mom took away his iPad once for a month, and
he was upset about it.
He was upset, and he hated her ever since because she unfairly took away his iPad. I'm sitting there thinking, my son's going to be happy if he ever gets privileges.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'm
Like
sitting there
entitled
going,
much?
yeah. Like I'll sit there and tell my son, either do your work or you lose this for a week.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're
it's
lucky to even have it. Who bought it there, buddy?
exactly
This guy.
But that's one thing that I'm wondering is if this whole like, oh, I'm living such a hard life, or they're trying not to parent like their parents did because they feel like they've been scorned when they didn't get that new toy, when they didn't get the new app bought for them, when they didn't get those tennis shoes that they really wanted, or whatever it was. You know, my parents were so bad because I didn't get everything I wanted. And I think that part of it is, and I don't think I wonder more than I think this, but, well, we're not going to go into everything I think about this, but the general fact is that with how everyone's taught about my truth, about it has to be what I want. Think about when you were being taught manners, when you were being taught all these things, it was, you're doing it for the better of society. You're doing things to be a better person. Now it's, I don't care what other people do. I don't care what is going on in the world. People are more concerned about themselves than they are about creating a better society. Because you're always told, especially now, well, don't worry about so-and-so, worry about yourself. Don't worry about having manners. Like, look at all the crazy videos you can easily see of people being disrespectful. Even cops are being disrespectful to people. I know years ago, every cop I met would be like, sir, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And you'd be like, okay, fine. Now it's cops are coming up with an attitude. People are coming to an attitude to the cops. People are having attitudes when you buy something. So, of course, you go, people at the counter has an attitude.
It even falls into that show, the Sean Ryan show, what they were talking about. Some of those people on those Roblox and all those other things. There's,
cult,
I guess,
or whatever.
Yeah, there's some group on there that's like 60,000 people are part of this group. It's like 764 group or something like that, and their culture or the group's religion or whatever is Satanism, and they openly talk about it. But they groom and collect kids to go and do like terrible things. Like I mean, they like groomed. They have several accounts of young kids like 16, and they groom them on this website to go and just beat and kill old people. Right. Yeah. Like, so that boils down to respect. I mean, in any instance, if that child, that 16-year-old kid, had any sort of respect for elderly or older people, I mean, they would be like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? So that's like a big societal breakdown where kids are so easily manipulated to just go, because there's no morality. There's no, I don't know. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I think, and this is a very broad brush, but I think one of the biggest things is we have so much affluence that we can give our kids whatever they want. I mean, when I grew up, you didn't get what you wanted. We worked, I lived on a farm. I mean, I worked to help my parents make it. It wasn't like I sat around and thought about, gee, I wonder if I could get this or that. I mean, there was no sitting around. And I think we've just gotten to a point where we can pretty much get our kids where, whatever they think they want, we get it for them. And consequently, everybody's entitled. Nobody thinks about, if I want it, I'm going to get it. I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
So aside from, sorry, my audio might be messed up. My phone died. I had to take my headphones out to plug my phone in. But so aside from just saying can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Aside from just saying, get back to religion, Pastor Ron, how do we accomplish that? I mean, as parents, and I'm not talking about I'm not, just to be clear,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about, and I don't mean these terms derogatory, but I'm not talking about like Bible thumping, like devout, like Christian necessarily. I'm just talking about getting back to religious ideals. How do we accomplish that as parents?
Personally, I think we have to be forced to do it. I think it has to get so bad before people will go to that. Now, my opinion again,
Violence.
if people come to a conclusion that the Bible is a good way, some people will do that.
Yeah.
But when you start talking about a lot of people turning, I think it has to get so bad that people go, this isn't working. And, my family is not what it should be, and start to talk about it and start to say, there's some things that can make it better, and then make some decisions. I always say, it looks to me like people don't, on a whole, do a lot of things unless they're forced. So it usually has to get so bad, something happens that, okay,
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think if we had a financial crisis, that could force some things. If you had a literal financial crisis that took away a lot of stuff, and it would force you to do some things. Not that I want that to happen, don't get me wrong, but things like that. Because like I say, there's some people that'll change because they just make a decision, but it's a minority. But I think maybe we're seeing a swing. I personally see some signs of things changing and hopefully turning around. We'll see.
do too.
We'll see.
I was going to say, I agree. I see a lot of signs of more people taking up religious and stuff. Religion and Christianity.
I heard somebody say the other day, Christianity is becoming fashionable again. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I'll take what I can get, but
As long as we can get rid of those big corporate pastors. What's that one creep dude?
Oh my God! Some of those guys are
the big multi-billionaire guys that got all these houses, and the one dude that was talking about the demons in the plane that had like the demon face, and that guy's crazy.
God wants me to have this jet.
Affluence.
Okay.
Well, affluence can end up in the church too.
Yeah. Big time. Yes. Those people are going to burn more than anybody else.
Big institutions like that can be leveraged for good or evil.
Yeah.
It's not immune just because it's a church.
Well,
absolutely.
Talk about there's a guy named I can't remember his name completely. His last name, he was a Virginia senator, and Eric, you'll be able to correct me on this. Fieres or something. What? Nick Fieres?
Yeah, Nick. Yeah,
he's awesome. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but he
not Nick Fuentes.
Just to clarify.
Not that he's got all bad ideas, but not Nick Fuentes.
So the guy I'm talking about, Nick Fieres, was
I'm looking him up right now.
Yeah, I can't remember his exact name.
Yeah, but he was a Virginia senator, a Navy SEAL. He was a list of things. He's a homeschooler, a homesteader.
Yeah,
all this
Virginia
stuff.
congressman, a state house.
Yeah, state house. I might have been mistitling him. Yeah,
same.
But he wasn't in my district, so I didn't get to claim that. But the fact is he talks in one of his videos about how men going back to church. This was shortly after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and they were reporting a increase in people going to churches and this and that. But sorry, cat, like normal. But the one thing that he said was people are going into churches to find God, find their faith again. The problem is you have these men going in looking for strength, and they walk into a church that does nothing but show weakness, shows all these misguided beliefs. Like I said, there's churches here that I've watched some of their videos, and They don't mention a passage in the whole thing. They don't open a Bible. I mean, you have a lot of churches now. People are trying to find purpose, and they try to find it in religion, but you do have these churches saying, like, what is it, the Methodists or whatever? Yeah, who are
Methodist.
Are those the people that split because half the church wants LGBTQ, everything in it?
I think that's them, yeah.
But it goes to show you that churches are splitting because you have one side that's trying to break down the church, break down the faith and what the Bible says, and make it to be more popular or whatever, versus this is what God said, this is what Jesus says, this is what the prophets said, all this stuff. So now you have families going to these churches saying, oh, well, I'm a Christian, and you're sitting there going, are you really? Because you believe in abortion, you believe that you should be
just because you're doing what's cool because it's new on social media.
Well, you're going to a modern church,
right?
So where they're accepting of everybody. You don't have to worry about your sins as long as you come to church. You're going to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Well, I can
Sin
tell
all
you.
week, come. Yeah.
Well, like I'm going through with my son reading this Bible summary thing. It's like we read like one story that summarizes the books and what happens in the prophets, blah blah blah. It's a great thing. It has a prayer at the end, but I'm telling you, even in there it says God loved all of his people, but sometimes he had to make them understand that their ways were wicked and they had to suffer.
Yeah.
So God might love you, but God wants to make sure you're obedient enough to come into heaven, because, and it was said once before, you don't let strangers into your house, or you don't let people in your house that you don't know. And if you don't know God as who he is, why would he let you into his house? And I feel like going back to religion is not as strong as it once was. And it hopefully is making a comeback towards actual religion. But I think
it will.
I hope.
I think right now we're in the like Tom was saying, the fashionable stage. I think in the beginning stages, a lot of people are going to go, oh, it's so cool. Everybody wants to wear the freedom shirt and the Charlie Kirk thing now because it's cool. It's what's in, even though maybe they secretly they don't believe in all this stuff. Yeah, or the cool cross. They don't believe in all the stuff and everything, blah, blah, blah. So they'll do what's cool because it's cool. Maybe they can get their 15 minutes of fame. But I think that'll turn people. I mean, it turned me, not that particular event, but quite a few years ago, doing what I thought was a little bit better. And I chalk it all up to putting my daughter in Christian school. I put her in Christian school so she wouldn't have to go to public school. Because public school is a fucking nightmare. So we got this great school. It's better than a normal just Christian private school. It's a lot better. It's a totally different. It's one of a kind. I put her in the school, and because of that, just having that little bit of influence, just a little bit over time. I mean, it was like, wow. It completely like changed everything. You know what I mean?
Can I put a plug in for something that Eric's mom's involved too? A program that started in Ohio called LifeWise Academy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're very involved.
Very controversial.
We're very involved in our local school. I am personally. Anyway, they have 55,000 students in every state in the United States participating in this. And what we're finding is it's having an influence not only in the children, but it's having an influence in the parents who are starting to read the Bible because the children come home with questions. I think things like that will make a difference, And one of the things that I believe, I think God's going to use a younger generation. He's going to use the 20, 25-year-olds because the ones above that are pretty corrupted. And I think he's got to start with a fresh bunch. And usually the older ones don't like it because, well, what are they doing? But I kind of think there's going to be a big push in the younger people.
Yeah. Well, we are on Generation Alpha. So.
Oh, is that?
Okay, yeah. We've gone through all the generations. We hit Gen Z, and then now the next one is Generation Alpha.
Back to the beginning.
Back to the beginning. So if you actually read about a lot of the different generational things, that actually is very common. You have an alpha strong, religious generation. Because that one was so strong, the one after it doesn't have to quite be. And then the same thing happens again. And so they get to a point where they're eventually just weak, pathetic fools. And because they're so weak, that next generation has to revert back to being the strong, strengthy, capable alpha generation. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing today.
Bad times create strong men, right? That whole cycle.
Well, yeah.
I don't think it's 4. I think it's, a lot more than that.
Yeah, I understand.
Right. But the 4 is exactly it. It says it exactly.
Now,
I think we're absolutely at Generation Alpha today.
Now, don't make fun of me about this, because...
Oh, we're going to.
Nerd. 4 eyes.
Kind of going back to being strong, this and that, is I'm thinking about an episode of the Tuttle Twins. Mm-hmm. They actually have, I think, season 3, episode 2, and you can tell we watched it enough that I kind of remember this stuff. Yeah. But they have an episode about fatherlessness, about the absence of fathers and all this. And one thing they pointed out is what our kids see. So if our kids see us walk out on them, they'll most likely do it to their families, and so on and so on. So the question I have is, we were talking about children seeing weakness in display, and then having to be stronger so that because of the weakness that they have to see. Do you think a bit of that has a effect with weak fathers, weak mothers, weak grandparents, weak family structures, where it's, hey, my family, like, I guess the best way of looking at it, and I hate to say it this way, when I was growing up, there was a family that was on welfare, and it wasn't like they were just on welfare. It was a generational thing where, like, 3 generations or 4 generations that were living, and they all lived together, and they were all on welfare so that they could milk the government for as much as they want. So the kids saw what the parents did. They learned that, they did it, and
they repeat. Yeah.
Exactly. So how much of it is that we need, like, part of our mission is to make families stronger, bring back traditional values, but how much of the weakness that we're dealing with is because people are obsessed with their phones? They're more focused on their own truth, or whatever you want to call it. All this stuff, you know what I mean? Pastor Ron, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm a good one to ask, but yeah, I see it as a real problem, because I guess I see both sides of, I come from without them at all. And now I see what's happening, and I don't personally see a good trend, but part of the problem is the technology's here now. How do we discipline ourselves to use it and use it correctly? That's the big question. And how do we train our children? What I see is a lot of parents there's no training at all.
Right.
It's like, just go do whatever you want, and there's no training. It's like, that's a disaster. Right. Now, you have to teach your children how to use the technology correctly and not let it use you.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
And artificial intelligence, I don't know. I don't even know how to have an opinion, but I see how people, I see how people already believe so many lies. I can't imagine when the technology gets really good. People tell me stuff, they believe stuff, and I'm going, are you for real? You really believe this?
The technology is already there. We can already see videos and images and documentation of everything all done by AI, and you will never know the difference.
I know.
I think that there's a generation of people that are aware and are making steps to change it, and I prefer to be a hopeful person than a cynic. And for example, there like a friend of mine, he has a device. I think it's called the Brick, which is kind of funny. It's a thing that you scan with your phone. And what it does is it locks out like certain apps for a certain period of time, and then you have to like rescan it to unlock your phone again. So when he like leaves the house, he'll scan his phone, and while he's gone out with whatever family or whatever, he can only access like his phone and his text messages or something. And everything else is locked out. And he said he's got an opportunity where he can bypass it in an emergency, but if he bypasses it 5 times, then he has to buy a new brick, and the brick's like $90 or something like that. So there's like a monetary thing, you know what I mean, associated with it too.
It forces you into it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's fascinating. But it's like people are taking steps to try and mitigate that. You know, they're aware of it, and I worry about this too, because like with my daughter, you know, she's 15, and no doubt in my mind that I made the right decision. We haven't gotten her a phone, but you know, also I wonder, well, what if when she's 18, 19, 20 and she's got her own income and she goes off and buys herself a phone, like, is she just walking into a trap because she doesn't have the skills? You know, like how do I prepare her for that? You know, it's a question for another day maybe, but yeah, there's a lot surrounding this whole idea of technology, and you know, there's always 2 sides to every coin. I mean, you know, nuclear energy is an amazing advancement in technology, but you know, also it can blow up entire nations. So how do we balance that? You know what I mean?
Blow up India.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know,
has nobody seen Japan? It's so nice now. We blew them up. So if we blow up India, it'll clean it up.
Someone's going to clip this. You know that. We're going to get canceled. Just to clarify, he's joking, guys.
Yes, I'm joking, obviously.
now, I think with any technology, there is the good and bad. So I do use AI quite a bit, and like we even joke around and use, my wife and I'll take pictures, and with Grok you can turn the images live. She did one where there's a picture of me talking at Thanksgiving, and I had my mouth kind of open in mid-sentence. So she made it me saying, she had AI take it and me say, I am not going to deal with this. This is not acceptable. And AI said it and all this. And she told my son that every time he does something wrong, she's just going to show him that video.
Plays it to
him. and he laughs at it. And it's one of those things that you can have fun with it. I use it for a lot of research. Like, how do I teach my son to use this program called Tinkercad? So he can start doing 3D printing in about a year once he gets good enough with the program. But on the same note, and I've mentioned about just letting him run free for hours on YouTube. I have a Google, I signed him up for a kid's Google account, which allows me to watch and monitor his internet uses on his tablet. Gives me a report, things like this. I have a new router that comes in with a VPN, has child support, child parental controls, things like that. There's a thing called Bark, which you can get as well. So I think part of it is not hiding technology, but on the same time, I mean,
controlling it.
I would say teaching it properly. It's like any other
exposure.
thing. Look at it. Years ago, Pastor Ron, you said you was 13. You were walking around with a 22.
Yeah.
I forget how old I was when I was out with my stepdad hunting. And the fact is I see, like, my brother, he learned hunting mostly on his own. He just got himself a deer, and all this. So hopefully we get some new deer jerky. But the fact is fact of watching how he hunts and how he carries his gun versus my stepdad taught me gun safety and had me do all these things. Even I haven't hunted in decades. I still remember how to hold the gun so that and be aware of where it's pointing, all these things so that you're safe with the weapon, because the gun is a piece of technology.
Yep.
You can use, if as long as you know how to use it, you're going to be safe. But overall,
similar concept essentially.
In a sense, but it's harder nowadays because the technology can drive you in this direction you don't want your kids to go into.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting we talking about a gun. I remember my dad telling me, you never point a gun at anybody. And if I played with toy pistols, if he caught me pointing it at somebody, I was in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter what kind of gun it was. Yeah. So I go down to the neighbors, and they're having a fight with BB guns.
Yeah.
I was petrified. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You know, because I was taught never point a gun at anybody. It didn't matter if it was a fake gun. So
right.
I mean, that's what we were taught in the military, you know. Is, you don't point it at anything you don't intend to kill.
That's right.
Yeah, the 4 basic rules of gun safety. We do archery and air rifle. My daughter's homeschooled. We do archery and air rifle with my daughter, and she had to memorize and recite the 4 rules of gun safety before she was ever even allowed to pick the gun up.
Yep.
And you know, that was like a moment of pride for her. You know, I remember she, you know, it took her like a week to memorize them, you know, but when she finally was able to tell me what they were, we went out in the backyard and she started learning how to shoot the rifle, and she was just ecstatic, you know.
Right.
I'm going to teach my daughter about switchblades.
Oh, the 4 rules of switchblade safety.
I was a good, I don't know if I am today.
You have it. Don't know.
I don't know. Today I'm so used to these, you know, and I haven't played with a switchblade in years, but man, I was pretty good back.
Oh, you're talking about a butterfly knife?
Yeah, butterfly knife back in the day. Yeah, butterfly knife. Yeah,
those are
slang term, switchblade.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah. I used to be pretty good at one. I don't know if I am anymore.
My grandpa actually taught me how to flip them open, like the trick, you know.
It's. I mean, I think a lot of it is with, you have to teach safety, you have to teach all these things, but you also have to put in safeguards to be able to teach it. I'll admit, like, I do let my son on the tablet, right?
Yeah.
And you talked about YouTube where your daughter watches Octonauts. My son just rediscovered Wildcrats, which is kind of...
Wildcrats, yeah. My daughter hates Wildcrats. I don't know why.
My son loves them, but they're very educational. That's what got him into nature, and now he can recite about any fact about nature because he studies it, and because of technology, he's able to use that to learn and what have you. I think between a lot of stuff, and I don't think we're actually going to get an answer on what's right or wrong about honor thy father, about what's the right way, the distance of families, and the fact of technology has driven families apart more and more. And you know, it's my personal opinion is that we need to have strong families, but we also need to have families that are supportive of each other. And you guys, any of you guys can correct me if you think I'm off base on this, but like, even if I reach out or I talk to my biological father, if I had a feeling he's still the way he was, I still wouldn't allow him in my life, even though I want to honor thy father and mother, and I want to have my son learn that as well. I also want him to learn sometimes you just can't have bad people in your life because they're going to lead you down bad roads.
You can honor their memory.
You can
honor the thought.
Maybe,
That's kind of all I do. I honor my mother's memory. I honor the fact that she was a mother. She was an okay mom. Not the best, but okay.
Something that might be hard, Eric, is if they actually changed, let's just say they happen to change for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You would still have something to deal with because you would have to deal with, did he really change?
Yeah. You still got that back here.
Yeah. And to me, that's an interesting thing is like, forgiving people or giving people a chance to change. And then when they do change, will I accept them? Or how far do I accept them? Am I cautious at first?
Yeah, slowly.
Forgive, but don't forget.
Yeah, right. Forgive, but don't forget. Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that'll solve a lot of issues with men and a lot of our problems today, it sounds dumb. It's a little off topic. But, so if you go to a doctor or even Google, whatever your age is, so I'm 41, right? If you Google the average 41-year-old male in America's testosterone levels in 2025, that number right now, it's probably around 330 nanograms per milliliter, which that's what it is. That's what it's measured by, ng/ml, nanograms per milliliter. So if you look at the average male at 41 years old in 2025's average level of testosterone is probably around 330. But if you take that number and you go back to, let's say, 1950, what was it back then? I can almost guarantee you it's probably 600, 700, right? So over the course of time, normalcy has become weakness. Weakness has become normalcy. Is because the baseline. So when you go to the doctor and you're like, I don't understand why this is happening. Why can't I do this with my wife? Or why I'm having these issues. Why am I always chubby or fat? No matter how much I work out and eat. Yeah, tired all the time.
Can't lose weight.
And then you go and you get your testosterone checked, and he's like, it's good. It's within range. When it's actually not. The reason they say it's within range is because that baseline has now become the majority of the population, which the majority of the population is
200. The range is from 250 to 1100. I did a whole thing on this on X. I did a whole thread. It's actually one of my more popular
completely
ones,
incorrect. It's what it was years ago before Big Pharma and all this stuff got in our food and screwed everything up. So
biggest things is sleep. Paying attention to your sleep, resistance training, and magnesium intake. Those are like the three big needle movers, honestly.
Yeah. And if you look at the numbers, it's from recorded history will be here, you know what I mean? All the way, it'll be like this. Average testosterone level, and then it's like 1980. And it's like, it just progressively gets
worse. By 1% per year, regardless of age.
Part of Eric's conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like I said, it's only conspiracy until it's proven correct.
Yeah.
So
that's funny. Hey guys, I have some stuff I got to take care of, unfortunately. So
I was gonna say it's about that time. So let's do this, Tom. Since you have to hop off first, where's the best place people can find you if they have questions or want to reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm on X primarily. At Earn Her Respect as always. A couple things in the works like normal. We're actually purchasing another property right now, and we're having a kid, so there's been a ton going on. So we're at least a couple months away from anything getting released there, but that's where you'll find it. So
nice. All right, Pastor Ron, where do people reach out to you if they have questions or if they want to hear you speak or what's happening?
Probably the best thing is go to New Hope Christian Church, Wayne, Ohio. New Hope Christian Church, Wayne, Ohio. And we have messages there. They can listen to some of my messages, and and then they could always, they could always email me too, Pastor Ron Merritt at yahoo.com.
All right. And pancakes?
Yeah. So as normal, you have pancakeswithyourdad.com. That's the main location. Don't forget. There's all kinds of cool merchandise and shenanigans in there to buy. That'll help if you buy anything. Not that there is much sales. I'm not rich, but if anything, we can buy cool stuff to help with the podcast and help promote more and, spread the message a little bit more. So please go pancakesforyourdad.com, go to the shop, buy more stuff, please. There's cool stuff in there, like the woodworking things, why can't I think of the word?
Projects?
Yeah, projects, free downloads, so step-by-step guides and stuff. There's definitely tons of stuff, literature, books, magazines. There's even a course for how to build your LinkedIn that will help you in your career. And then, of course, the nonprofit is still going. We had a fluke with our website, kind of got screwed up. I'm working on it now, still building it, but it's still new, so it's not really that big of a deal. But American-Liberty-Foundation.org. When it comes up, you will see it for sure, and I will definitely announce it. It is down. Basically, we ran out of money because nobody donated. Yeah, donate more money. But we ran out of money, and the hosting service fell off because I didn't have money to pay for it, and I lost it, and now I have to rebuild the website from scratch, which is fine. But go there. If you can, donate money. Go to the even on our social medias. So X, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, True Social. A lot of the links are there even to donate. So, and that'll help us keep our website up and going, and pay for all that stuff. But that's kind of the goal. Part of everything we talked about today is kind of the goal of the American Liberty Foundation. A lot of it, everybody talks about religion and stuff is, kind of crazy. A lot of people, religion has been ostracized for how many years? Well, I truly believe that there's a stepping stone in between the two. You can't go from hating religion to loving religion. There's a stepping stone, and part of that stepping stone is learning general morality first. If the American Liberty Foundation kind of teaches you morality, maybe somewhere along the lines it'll guide you into religion. Hopefully, that's the goal. But just look for that.
Sounds perfect. And then, of course, Call with Dads, where every audio place, every live streaming place or video platform we can do. But callwithdads.com is the best way to find us, reach out to us, get links to Mr. Pancakes, to Tom, to myself.
Call with Dad's merch.
Yeah, actually, we just I just got a new lineup called Best Period Dad Period Ever Period. So there's shirts, hats, things that says Best Dad Ever with periods after all of them. So I think they're pretty cool. I'm about ready to buy myself one of the hats, but that's me. But with that, what we're doing is we're going to end this, and we'll be talking with everyone soon. So we appreciate everyone. And Pastor Ron, if you can hold on for just a second.
All right. Okay.